Hey everyone, how you doing today? We brought Greg Dickerson back for episode number 2 of our expert series on Mondays. How you doing, sir?
Doing good. Good to be back.
Hey man, I appreciate you. One of the things that I just wanted to ask, and one of the things I love about this expert series, is I get to ask questions that I get to learn from. So, going back to thinking about you, working, being in the military, working in a restaurants, trucking a toolbox to where you sit today, I'm you're just wildly successful, and it's all effort, risk, reward, all that stuff. You've earned it all. But when I step back and I hear these other things in the industry about your network is your net worth and you're the average of the 5 closest people to you, you're very different today than you were when you exited the military, than when you were working in a restaurant, when you were the man with the truck and a toolbox. So I'm just curious, when you kind of go back in your time machine and think about your business network, maybe how has that evolved? And are your 5 relationships that you have now vastly different than they were a decade ago or 2 decades ago?
Oh, absolutely. My business relationship. So yeah. So, those things are going to evolve and change. Now your core family and things like that, they kind of stay the same. But yeah, you are the average of who you hang around, basically, in terms of now we're talking strictly business,
Yes.
from a business standpoint. And this can even be emotional and physical and all that. If you want to be lean and healthy and fit and you're hanging around people who aren't and have bad habits, well, you're not going to be lean, healthy, and fit.
Mm.
So if you're hanging around people that go to the gym and eat well and train, you're going to be more fit and you're going to be better. So business works the same way. So, number one, if you're the smartest person in every room you're in the wrong room. Number two, if you're the wealthiest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And number three, if you're the smartest person you don't know enough people. So, those are the things you always want to look for. So, as I've evolved over the years, I've always looked at and looked for who is where I want to be, who is doing what I want to do, who has done what I want to do. That's who I seek to build relationships with, seek wisdom and advice from, and take advice from. You have to qualify advice. So everybody's full of advice, right? But you got to qualify that. If you're listening to somebody and taking advice from somebody who's never done anything, never accomplished whatever it is you're trying to do, let's say you want to be whatever, we talk about real estate business and all that, but if you want to lose weight and get fit, who are you going to go to? The guy in the gym who's healthy and fit, or you're going to go to somebody who's not? If you want to be a professional golfer and be the best in the world, who are you going to go to? You're going to the best instructors in the world that have produced the best golfers in the world. So, we're keeping it relatable. If you want to be a real estate investor, real estate developer, who are you going to go to? Somebody who's never bought a house, never invested in real estate, never even owned a house,
Yeah.
and works at, whatever and has never done anything? Or are you going to go to Michael, who's, retired on rental houses, written a book about it, training and teaching people, and is living, breathing, walking it, so that's what you got to do. And as you grow and scale in your understanding, what's really cool about knowledge, what's really cool about wisdom is 2 things. One, once you got it, they can't take it away. Number 2, you can never get enough. You can always go deeper. You can always learn more. And the more you know, the more you find out you don't know. That's what's really cool. The more you learn and the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Oh, that is awesome. So many questions, so many thoughts bouncing around my head in this, because more and more people need to realize this. I guess, and again, we'll stay at the business level, right? Because your family's your family and your best friend's your best friend and all of that.
Mhm.
So we'll stay at the business level. Was it kind of, when you look back at your track record, there's so much there. I mean, do you remember consciously at different moments saying, maybe I got into a room, to use your analogy, and you were kind of in the middle, and then suddenly you were at the top, either income or size of company or whatever it was, and you purposely seeked that next jump? Do you remember moments in time, or was it just kind of a natural ebb and flow?
Yeah, a little of both, but yeah, very intentional. So I built my career, my network, and my knowledge just picking up the phone and calling people. Hey, my name's Greg Dickerson. I love what you've done. I admire what you've done in your life. I want to be just like you. Can I buy you dinner? Tell you whatever,
Mhm.
and I would network with these people. Now, some of it was working for these people, doing projects for them when I started my company, and learning from them that way, doing deals with people, learning from them that way, and then just flat picking up the phone of people I admire in business and just calling them up and just saying, hey, you've been extremely successful in your industry. I love what you do. I'm a seeker of wisdom. Would you be willing to spend a few minutes and just kind of tell me about your career path, how you've been able to do what you've done? Be happy to buy you dinner. We can do a phone call, whatever. I would just pick up the phone and call them and talk to them and just learn from them. So these are just different people in business and industry I've admired. Now, a couple of things to keep in mind there, because you get a lot of people, probably you do, I do. Hey, can I pick your brain?
Yeah.
I'd love to buy you a cup of. Well, qualify who you're reaching out to. Number one, don't ever say, "Can I pick your brain?" I mean, who wants to sit down and have their brain picked? You know?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, don't even say that. And number two, you're just coming at it from the standpoint of you're just looking to take. You're not a giver. You're just looking
Yeah.
to take. When you reach out to somebody, even though you're still looking to take, when you say, I really admire what you've accomplished, I want to be like you, I want to know what I want to hear your story. That's different. When you say, hey, I want to pick your brain, that's like, to me, that tells me you don't even know what you're doing. You have no clue. And if I spent 6 months with you, you wouldn't apply anything that you've heard.
Yeah.
That's somebody who just wants to waste somebody's time and whatever. So it's a very, very different way. Approach is 100% of the game when you're looking to get wisdom from people, and things like that. The other thing is, if somebody's got a book out or something like that, if you want Michael's advice in his time, buy his book and read it, and
Mhm.
then reach out and say, man, I bought your book, I read it, I love it. You talked about this in chapter 4. I would love to spend a few minutes with you. I admire what you've done. I want to hear your story. Da 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 da. How likely are you to engage with that person versus somebody just reaches out and says, hey, I want to pick your brain, and they've never read your book, they've
Mm,
never looked at your bio, they'll know anything about you. You,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really funny.
It's funny, and again, if you ever wanna reach out to me, you gotta buy my book because I actually put my email in the book, like, 3 times. I don't generally give that around, right? So my personal email is actually in my book. At least one of my personal emails is in my book, so, yeah, you're right. If you don't read the book, I mean, yeah, people reach out to me, I'm like, "Well, there's a book on Amazon, and it's got, like, 500 five-star reviews, so read that first, and let me know what you think." It's kind of funny. But, yeah, back to
Yeah.
the givers and takers. I've just formulated that this year because this last crisis, as you know, Olivia and I haven't been doing a lot. So a lot of staying home and a lot of trying to help people. But
Yeah.
yeah, it came clear to me like last summer that doing what we do with the intent of helping, you really do start to see two classes of people. There are the people that, I don't know, receive what you're getting out, work on it, and then ask intelligent questions or things like, hey, I didn't get this, or this is my personal life. This is kind of different. And then there is just people that bombard you with questions that don't do anything. And I've called them givers and takers. So I've definitely seen that a lot this year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of it out there, and a lot of different things. I mean, I had a wholesaler reach out to me today with a property, in my area, and I like to flip houses in the right areas here and there. My wife likes to play with them and decorate them and stuff. So he sent it to me, and I looked at it, and of course his price was way off the mark.
Yeah.
And so I replied back and I said, you're way off the mark on this price. Here's where it needs to be. He's like, well, the tax assessment's this. I understand. There's another one that sold for that. And I was like, you know what? You don't know your market. You don't know what you're doing. And I'm never going to talk to you again,
Yeah.
because you're a waste of time. So this guy doesn't even live in the area, doesn't know the market, has no clue what he's doing, and, wants to argue and justify when he doesn't even know what he's talking about, has no clue what the repairs are, has no clue where the house sat on the street. It's the worst position on the street,
Mm.
and it's the worst house in the worst position on the street. And yeah, the one next door might have sold for more, whole different house, whole different piece of
Yeah.
property, whole different everything.
Yeah.
So has no clue what they're talking about. And I said, look, you've totally discredited yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, if you're trying to be a wholesaler, you should be asking questions about why I think this, not
Right.
telling me what it is and what you think it is. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Exactly.
anyways, you get that kind of stuff. Then I had another one the other day. Some guy reached out to me, wanting me to look at his project and give him consulting advice for free. And then when I said, hey, I'd be happy to do this, I have programs for that. That's what people, my consulting, I don't waste my,
Yeah.
time with people that aren't willing to invest. And this is a multi-million dollar development this guy wants to do. He wants my free advice on his project, how to do it, and what I think. And then when I said, hey, looks like a great idea for what you want to do, if you want to, if you want some consulting, here's my programs.
Yeah.
And then he replied back, said, oh yeah, you online guys, you're just all about the money. Yeah. And I'm like, this dude's a professional. He's a medical professional that's successful in his career, wanting to do a multi-million dollar project, and doesn't want to pay anybody for anything. And I replied back and I said, do you really think that kind of approach is going to get you any kind of help? you know, you're practicing. So what, you practice your medicine for free. You don't charge patients. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just like it's really funny how people are, just totally self-absorbed. And that's somebody who will never be successful. They're never
Yeah.
going to achieve anything because, again, you are who you hang around. So if you have a mindset of scarcity and a mindset of I'm going to take, and I'm not going to compensate experienced, professional, sophisticated people that can save me on a $2 million project. I can come in and save people hundreds of thousands of bucks that they have no clue, that have never done that before, that they're going to waste. They're going to waste. And this individual just doesn't even have the understanding of that level of knowledge to be able to realize and recognize that. Just like you, how your course, how your book, how what you can do consulting can fast track somebody's career. And people will get hung over a $20 book when
Yeah.
there's millions of dollars of advice in there. It's just really
Yes.
it,
Crazy.
it's really funny.
Yeah. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate it. I love this conversation. This one helped me out a lot. Thanks, buddy.
All right.